Hi, I'm Andrew.
And I'm Russ.
And we are
The Secret Sauciers.
Welcome to our next show. Would you like to do the honors this time?
You know, one of the things that we have in our lives is this period of transition, and sometimes we take this journey down a path where we make changes, and a lot of times we hear about the end result, but not the transition in the middle or at the beginning. And what we wanted to do today is bring you some insight as to how some people make that journey, that transition, and how we end up being a different person, right?
And a different leader. And and what are those self-realizations that helped us have better outcomes in whatever it is we're doing in life? It's usually what we believe. We're the secret sauciers. It's our belief that the secret sauce comes from the inside, not from what you can do out here. And more leaders need to talk about it, and they acknowledge it. They absolutely acknowledge it. So why don't you introduce our wonderful...
So Lori, our wonderful guest,
Motola.
Thank you, Lori.
is from Rage from Charity. And tell us a little bit about yourself and how you arrived here.
Oh, man. Well, the story about how I arrived is, we'll get into that
cosmic.
probably. It is, maybe you want to call it cosmic. We'll talk. I was just thinking about that last night. We'll talk about it. But so Rage for Charity, I had worked in the nonprofit sector it's been about 12 years now. And it's something I always wanted to do and sort of had taken a divergent path. But when I started Rage for Charity, I had been thinking about it, and I sort of got everything going. One day on June 28th of this year, I just went, what are you doing? You've been talking about this for a year or two maybe. Do it. So I sat down and I, did the IRS application and got all that stuff in order. And I thought, I'll just kind of chill out through 2017. I'm not going to do any marketing promotion, which I haven't done. But, it was clearly time because things just took off. Yeah. And the thing that I love so much about Rage for Charity, there's so many nonprofits, but it sort of lets people do what they want.
So why don't you tell our audience a little bit about what it does?
All right, so...
how it works. It's brilliant.
How does it work?
What's all this rage about?
That's a good question. You want to talk about rage? So I'll tell you how I came up with the name, actually, and then it sort of, as I came up with it, took on different meanings. But what we do is we're looking at helping millennials, Gen Zs, and kind of whoever the next generation is. We really help them make grassroots changes. There's a lot of people just like me, who wanted to do a lot of good. And had I not worked in the nonprofit sector, I would have no idea how I could implement change in my community. Every one of us has probably seen something on any given day and said, wow, that could be better, or has lamented over people suffering or not getting what they need. And, most people probably post about it on Facebook, and then that's it, right?
It.
So,
well, they don't have a roadmap of where to begin or how to start or where even to,
where you come in?
Think about it.
That's where I come in. So we can. I tell everybody that works with me at Rage, all you need is passion to do something good. It can stop there. We do the rest. So we can talk to anybody who does anything for any cause and implement change. We teach them how to raise funds. Our goal is so that, maybe one day Rage for Charity doesn't even need to exist because people are doing these things on their own. We teach them how to implement the programming. I have that expertise. Mm-hmm. It's something that I'm particularly good at. And so I teach them, I mentor them, so that they can not only, implement some change now, but I can teach them how to sustain it.
So are them other charities, or it's someone that wants to start a charity?
That's a very good question.
Who are these people?
Could be anybody. What I say all the time at Rage is we do what we want, because it is very different. And so it can be a person. I mean, we do focus on millennials and Gen Zs, and one of the reasons is that they are the future of our country and further, right? But the other reason is nonprofits are not cool to them most of the time. They're not given the respect they deserve. They're not seen as having potential that they have. And they're one of the most passionate and giving generations, both millennials and Gen Zs. But they're just not allowed to implement things. And so it could be people, it could be other charities. Last night another charity contacted me and said, we need something done now. We have no idea how to do it. Can you help? So I'll talk to them later today.
So there's a consultative mindset, a get it done, roll your sleeves
Figure
up
it out.
mindset.
Figure
and
it out.
let us help you implement this idea.
Yes.
Neat. So, question. This is obviously, you're very passionate and driven. Tell me about where that stems from and how that has helped you in what you're doing now.
Yeah, that's a good question. I think, too, it'll probably lead us into more conversation because...
Well, let's talk.
I think we're here today.
Where it came from, I don't know. It was just something I was born with. And it was something that was extremely problematic for me in my early life.
Yeah, tell us. If you're comfortable.
Yeah, no, I am. And I appreciate you guys asking because I think people need to hear these things.
There's strength and vulnerability.
Absolutely. I'm an open book, yeah. I had just been born with this sense of just unending love for people. And this sense of feeling the suffering of people. And this happened from a very young age to the point that, my parents and my siblings were like, what's the matter with this kid? I was in a fantastic family. I mean, we grew up like Leave It to Beaver, right? My parents are still married. It's been over 50 years. My siblings are great. But I just didn't fit in, and that was one of the reasons. And I experienced that in school from the youngest ages, all the way up through college. I got a little bit better in college. It usually does, because you get people whose minds are a little bit more expanded, right? But I just knew that I couldn't literally exist without constantly moving forward to heal and help as many people as possible.
So what major realization, what was your first big success occupationally? And was it at all related to the chemical makeup of who you are, or some self-realization that you had?
Yeah, I think all of those successes are tied to sort of who I am innately. And, I put that aside for many years.
Can you tell a story maybe about one or something
sure,
where
yeah.
you came to that?
How did you actually go from feeling it to doing it?
Yeah.
What internal...
Was there a moment? Was there something where you were like, you had a holy shit?
Yeah.
Crap.
I've had
this. And then that realization inside yourself had so much of an impact on the outer world of your life.
Yeah. Okay, well, there's a couple of those moments, but I'll take you to a more recent run, rather to the one that sort of made me make the shift into the nonprofit world, because like I said, I've worked in it for 12 years. I've clearly been, working for more than 12 years. So maybe like 2 years ago, I was working for a large nonprofit in Phoenix, and I loved it. I mean, when I had gone to work there, it had been 10 years. It was like, oh man, I found my people, right? Like these people became my family.
Yeah.
When I worked there, they hugged you, and they all talked about the things that I talked about that everybody thought were like completely weird,
alien.
Right? Yeah.
So you thought you were on the same harmonic wavelength.
Yeah, and we were
there.
for a very long time. And as I sort of just aged out professionally and personally, I started getting this gut feeling, right? I'm a very positive person. I believe in working with what you get, but I was having these moments for at least a year. If I'm honest, it's probably 2 years. But they started in where I was like, this was my dream job. I was doing everything I loved. I was helping people. I had time with my daughter. I had this great work-life balance. I worked with these amazing people. My boss had been just a fantastic mentor to me. And I kept getting this feeling, like I kept getting annoyed by things. It started with just getting annoyed by things. And I would tell my very good friend Marie, and she'd be like, I hate to say this, but you got to leave that place. It's time to leave. And I was like, you're crazy.
So were they little things that were bugging you?
Yeah, they were little things. They were human
but they were adding
things.
Up.
they were adding up, and I was reacting to them
Inside yourself.
more powerfully than anybody else would. You know, basically I was like
Well,
overreacting.
because you're very sensitive to those things.
Yes.
Obviously.
So Marie starts to sort of plant this, and my friend Marie, God bless her, she knows what she's doing, because she knows you can't say to me.
She knows what she's doing with this.
She knows me, and she knows you can't just say, you know, Lori, here's the answer to the question you're seeking.
Yeah.
Because I'd be like, you don't know, we have to investigate, and, you know, like, I only take advice from very few people, right? So she starts saying, you got to go. This is your time to leave. These are all just reasons why this is the wrong fit for you. And I'm like, you're crazy. I'm just frustrated.
You did it anyway.
I went for like 2 years. And then one day
Struggling.
Yeah. And I don't want to say it was terrible, because it wasn't.
Right.
Anybody else would have been like, and everybody was, you're crazy. You have literally your dream job. This is what you've always wanted to do.
Yeah.
And I got to the point where I couldn't sleep at night. I literally couldn't sleep at night, because it felt so wrong. And I knew I had to leave.
And can you articulate exactly what it was? What was the self-realization?
Well, that's a whole big other conversation.
Okay. Well,
but I do want to talk about that.
So then let's talk about it,
All right.
because obviously, I mean, to me, there's still a missing piece here.
Yeah.
Was that you're relying on a feeling.
Yep.
And they're little things, but if it was the dream job, why was it irritating you so much? What was
because
that
there's
realization?
friction between logic and the emotion.
That's right. And because it wasn't my purpose. Rage for charity is my purpose.
There we go. So you felt, perhaps, that there was another calling for you.
Absolutely.
And you were...
So the end of the experiences had arrived.
Mm-hmm.
But
somewhat.
I think it was manifesting itself in terms of annoyance.
Right, exactly.
Which you would not have focused on that. It was really this other calling that you had.
Yes.
But you were focused on the annoyances.
Yes. And that's...
Is that fair to say?
Yeah. And that's why I think this is important.
Was that a realization you came to?
Yeah. It was in that moment, in those times, at the time that I had figured out that I needed to leave, and it was really rough. It was rough when I left. Everybody was shocked, surprised, felt I had betrayed them.
And this was recent? A few years ago?
It was less than a couple of years ago, yeah. But it was in that time that, you know, whatever Marie said, and I had sort of just been, you know, I had a few years earlier started meditating, really quieting my mind so I could hear what was inside me versus everything else.
Yeah.
And all that kind of came together, and what I realized is we all have this treasure map. We all have this treasure map inside of us, and we tune it out, or we're taught that it's not logical or it doesn't make any sense. Or what's most important to me is that people get caught up on what it is. Like, what is it? Is it sort of this traditional religious, you know, like God speaking to you sense? Is it this spiritual thing, you know, where it's like, this is the universe? You'll hear many people say that, right? This is the universe conspiring. Or is it come down to science in the same way that when a woman, you know, gets pregnant, her body knows exactly what to do to sustain another life, even beyond, you know, that life being born through nursing and things like that. So I kind of got caught up for a while trying to figure out, I got to identify what these messages are, right? What is it? What is it? What is it? And then finally I was just like, who fucking cares? The message is what's important. Where it comes from to me anymore is not important.
So you went through, this was a real trial for you. This was a very difficult moment in your life. And I guess, if I'm going to sum it up, the self-realization you wanted to share was that there was this other part of your journey you were supposed to continue on. And this charity was supposed to be what you were meant to do. Mm-hmm. And it has manifested itself.
Yes.
It has taken you down this path. And I'm sure that the people in your old job still love you and respect you. Maybe some don't, but whatever the case is, this is the path that you've chosen.
Yeah. And I feel like, you know, I didn't even choose this. I don't know what it is, but this is what I'm supposed to be doing. At the time that I left,
grabbed you.
it's not like I left and started Rage for Charity, right? There was more I had to learn, and I did over the last year and a half. I had sort of a different job in between. And in fact, the same thing happened with that job. One day I got the sense that, and I'm not, like, I don't skip around, I don't job hop. And it was like 6 months in, it was like, this is dumb. You got what you got out of this. I remember, talking to the executive director at the time and saying, I'm not feeling good about this. What can we do? And he was like, what do you mean? This is your job. You go to work, you do it. Doesn't matter if you like it, And I just said, I'm giving you my notice. And of course, I had a daughter in college at the time. Everyone was like, you have lost your goddamn mind. And I was 100, at that point, I had honed this so much. I could hear that voice that I had zero doubt.
So you're sharing with our audience how wired you are to not only love what you do, but it has to be your purpose, your canvas that you paint on in life, so to speak.
Yeah.
So now you're a leader.
Yeah.
You're this leader. What does that mean? I mean, is there anything from experience you rely on now to be this leader? I mean, not only of your own charity, but stepping into other charities, and they're looking up to you, and they're saying, help us, help us.
Help us.
And, what are some pieces of you that you rely on to have the confidence to go in and do that?
That's a good. It's not.
Well, we're supposed to ask you good questions.
It's not me. It's all of those things that we kind of talked about in the beginning, like that feeling of wanting to just help and heal, and the things that made me feel like a crazy person and different from like an alien. You said it before. I always felt like an alien. I say it all the time. Like, I'm not even from this planet. Those are what has made me successful. And I'm always cold.
Checking. I don't know. You feel like a real person.
But yeah, it's those things. Learning to embrace those things that made me different is what has made me so successful.
So basically, you are your authentic self.
Yep.
I mean, as 100% as 100%
So she's
can
practicing
be.
authenticity.
Well, she's living it.
Yeah.
So you're bringing your authentic self to each of these.
Yes. And I think people respond to that. And now I've learned all these skills, right? Professionally, I did learn all these skills. But what people respond to most is when they look at me and they ask me for help. They know I am as committed to their cause as I would be to my own, because I'm committed to the greater good. So whatever gets us there, you got to get past ego when people are asking you for help, right?
So, this authentic self thing. So we had a previous guest, Stacy Mallon, and she brought up this point where in life, in relationships, or you get a job, you have to be a certain way. Or in a personal relationship, you feel like you have to be a certain way. Or as a leader, you feel like you have to be a certain way. And she's like, no. Be your way. Be it 100%. Be it authentically. And find a place that wants you to be that. And it sounds like now that you're painting on this canvas of life, that's what you're doing, and that's what they're getting.
Yeah. And
you're attracting different people, I'm sure.
Yeah, I am.
People are showing up.
Not only, practicing that being your genuine, authentic self, but I can't attribute my success. And when I say success, my version is probably different than most people, but I feel happier and more successful than I ever have in my life, and I know that things are getting better. It is 100% attributed to to my internal compass. Wherever it comes from, whatever those things
Stay true
are.
to yourself, in other words.
That message, you got to tune in. We have like a magic 8-ball inside of us, I'm telling you.
Well, I think people are afraid, the unknown is what most of us all avoid.
I know, that's,
Right?
Yes,
that's
We
the
all
greatest
avoid
experience.
the unknown because what does the unknown represent? Fear.
Everything,
It's
though.
fear. And so
And it brings and delivers
But
so
you
much.
seemingly
Yep.
have this fearlessness to not just dip your toe into the unknown, you hold your nose and jump into it.
Yeah.
And that's kind of living what I call a go for it life, which I can relate to. And it's not for everyone. Some people are more measured. They want to dip their toe in. They want to see what it's like. But the point is, happiness is something that you have to move towards.
Mm-hmm.
You
can't
can't expect for it to come to you when. Everything will be good when. Mm-hmm. You seemingly have understood that you move towards it. And it may not find you when you move in that direction. So then you'll move in another direction.
Yep.
Is that fair?
And yeah, it's not only fair, but it's key. It's so key because I have learned, I don't know what I'm doing. I
owned a big company. I owned a big company, got licensing from the NFL, baseball, basketball, and hockey. Former chief science officer who then owned a product. And, reveal, I didn't know what I was doing, but every day I figured it out.
Yeah.
I figured it out.
And we have the answers. If you don't, and there's, I love what you said about it's not for everyone, right? The jumping in, sort of standing on that precipice and just jumping off a cliff into the dark isn't for everyone. And I agree, it's not. It's for me. It's for you.
Yeah.
Probably for you. So people are like, well, shit, how do I know, right? If it's for me. You just ask yourself.
What if I fail?
You ask
Tell
yourself.
me, what if I fail? What am I going to do if I fail? Guess what?
No.
You will.
Yep, I have no idea.
Failure is essential for happiness and success. You cannot succeed unless you're willing to fail and fail frequently.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just don't look at, I know that there are going to be times that things aren't going to go the way I would hope, and I just try not to hope about how things will go. I stay focused on, I want to do as much good for as many people as possible. When I have a dilemma and I'm not sure whether to go right, left, or center, I quiet my mind and I just ask myself. And
So
the answer comes.
So you meditate regularly?
Yeah.
I do too. And a lot of people, years ago when people meditated, it was like...
Yeah, it was real new agey,
That's
right?
like a little flaky, a little weird. But now, when people are understanding that Steve Jobs meditated every day, all these great people and great leaders that we look up to and try to emulate are meditating. Well, what's up with that? Why are they doing that? And we get it. And you know what? We should maybe have a guest someday that just talks about that, because I don't want to just me talk about it. I want the audience to understand how quieting the mind and uniting kind of your being body with your thinking, emoting mind, and kind of aligning the two to get into this thing we call flow is really where the magic happens.
It is.
Right? You're looking at me like it's so much.
Because literally anything and everything you want to know, you already know.
It's already there.
For every single one
or
of us.
It's already presented to you in some way.
And we just have to quiet our mind. Well, that's a difference of opinion, because I really do believe we've got an internal roadmap. I don't know if it's, like I said, physiological.
It depends how we define knowing, right?
Yeah.
So.
And the thing is I think we all have a gift. We have an innate gift that we have, that we can deliver.
Struggle with finding what that is.
Well, a lot of people never achieve it because they refuse to recognize it.
That's right.
They refuse to acknowledge
we're human.
Because it's too...
refuse, or they're just afraid to?
I think it's a little of both. Because I'll give you an example. The person that goes to work every day and that's what they do for the rest of their life because they feel that that's the safe thing to do. That's the journey they were supposed to do, and and they never go do art, or they never go do music, or they never achieve results that they feel like I could have, shoulda, woulda, if I only done it. And then they have regret. That's where regret comes from. Is this process of not listening to who and the gift that you have.
It's almost like I was just telling Russ that Bruce Springsteen just finished on Broadway, and it's now up on Netflix. And it's basically a storytelling of his life, which is powerful and poetic. And he describes his life, his success, as a magic trick. And it's so powerful that it really is this magic trick. How do we find that magic? and learn how to
Well, and I think what Lori is saying is that it's all within us.
Yeah,
The
and
magic
getting
is-
there
Well, it
for
is.
me is, meditation or through art in general, writing or through painting. But everybody just has to find their thing. I'm not advocating that the whole world goes out and meditates, although there's fantastic scientific,
Evidence
data
that it's okay.
that shows that it is
overwhelming.
so healthy physically,
It's
biology.
good for you, good
Laughing-
for your mind, good for
laughing
your
is
health.
It doesn't
good.
have to be
But you're not the
religious or
typical
whatever.
leader, okay? I mean, our audience is watching this show, okay? And I'm going to kind of
And they're like, "Who's
categorize
this
you, which is not fair. But
No, it's
you're
okay.
not the typical leader,
It's true.
right? Leaders think, like Stacy said, you've got to be a certain way. You have to, or some are
Like
authoritarian.
people have told you.
Right.
It's like you go to work, you do your job, you show up,
Yeah.
end of story.
And
Or
it's
that you
about
have
the
to be-
mechanics,
and setting
right?
boundaries, and
It's
you have
about
to be
the-
authoritarian, and
Roles
those
and
are
responsibilities.
and
Yeah.
boundaries are important, and navigating through all those things are important. And some people are going to honor those boundaries, and some won't honor those boundaries. And it's up to you to lead by example to do that.
Yes.
And so, listen, I could not be more grateful that you were here, sharing,
It's awesome.
Thank you.
sharing this. We're so grateful. You were the perfect guest.
Thanks.
So how can people get in touch with you?
Well, rageforcharity.org. I answer almost all of our texts personally, so they can text us 602-845-9780. They can email me directly.
Spell your last name.
Motola. If they can
first
email
name?
at
Low
at
at
rageforcharity.org.
So if you have an idea, if you're a charity that has an idea or has a program and you can't seem to know how to get it started,
Or you need resources to continue to help
Yep.
launch a program that you have in place.
Yep, volunteer resources, programming resources.
Yeah.
Or if you're a
fantastic.
person.
Well,
Magical stuff.
If you're a person that's like, hey, I feel the call to do something, I don't know what I'm supposed to do, and I sure shit don't know how to do it,
I just want
Call
help.
me.
I just want help.
call me. Well, Russ, it was another great show.
Yeah, thank
Another
you so
great
much
guest.
for being here, Andrew. And
Yeah, so why don't you tell a little bit about what you do, and I will, and then we'll...
Yeah, you bet.
take it.
I'm Russ Johns, Adora Creative, and we help agencies grow. We help individuals and companies expand their marketing and their branding and produce shows just like this.
Yes, and I'm Andrew Kolikoff, and I'm with a company, I'm actually with a number, but I'm with a company called Optimum HQ, and Optimum HQ is a business solutions platform. It's sort of like technology wet clay. You can build out any custom software that you want with no code at all. I know it sounds like a magic trick, but it's real.
I like
it
no code
absolutely
joke.
is real, and in less than 2 years, the company has landed big other names like Humana and WageWorks and other big companies, and it is a disruptive technology. You can reach me personally at andrew@kolikoff.com is my email. You could go to kolikoff.com, KOLIKOFF, 2 F's like Frank.com, or you can go to optimumhq.com. We thank you so much. Amazing guest,
Thank you.
amazing conversation, and have a blessed day. Hi, I'm Andrew,
I'm Russ.
and we are the Secret Sauciers.
We're here to bring you valuable information that can help you move your life forward.
And your business forward. And those realizations come from within you, and we're sharing that with you through our interviews with executives. So please tune in.
Subscribe to the channel and join us weekly.
Thank you.